Hello everyone, once again, thank you for joining today's session and let's jump to the slide before wasting any time. So these are our topics that we are going to cover today. So you can see I've divided this in two sections. First one is Power BI and then second one is data flow. So in Power BI, we are going to cover introduction to Power BI, then Power BI products, then we have Power BI pricing, then how you can transform, shape and model your data in Power BI, create your own measures, and then create calculated columns, and then how you can publish your dashboard, and then how you can schedule it. So this will be the first part, which is the basic part. So even if you are completely beginner to Power BI, at least like after 1 hour, you will understand how to use it and how you can publish it and how you can share with your friends and colleagues. So all those things you will at least understand within our first hour of the session. Next one is deep dive into data flow, which is a new feature in Power BI, and it gives you the flexibility to work with big data kind of problem where you are dealing with like terabytes of data. Okay, so we'll talk about that in our next part of the session. So first we'll talk about introduction to data flows and then how you can connect data sources with data flow, then use data flow with your on-premise data sources. And then this is a very important feature that has been added in Power BI, which is called incremental refresh with data flow. And this is a feature which makes Power BI very powerful. So we'll talk about that. And then you have connect to data flows in Power BI desktop. So basically, even if you have data flow, you can connect through your Power BI desktop. So we'll talk about this, like what is Power BI desktop and other products. And then finally, you can connect data lake gen 2 for data flow storage. So this topic I will cover in my next session in much detail, but I'll just give a brief about this particular topic. Okay, so let's jump to the introduction part. So let me give you a brief like what is Power BI. So if you go by the definition, it says Power BI is a collection of software services, apps and connectors that work together to turn your unrelated sources of data into coherent, visually immersive and interactive insights. Your data may be an spreadsheet or a collection of cloud-based and on-premises hybrid data warehouses. Power BI lets you easily connect to your data sources, visualize and discover what's important and share that with anyone or everyone you want. So the definition is very simple and it makes so if you go through the definition you'll understand basically it's giving you an understanding that how you can derive insight with the data. So basically here you can bring your data to Power BI and you can try to derive some insight out of that data, and this is called self-service BI. So Power BI is called self-service BI. The reason that you don't need to any special language to work on Power BI. If you just have a data maybe in your Excel sheet or if you have data in maybe on-premise SQL Server or even on cloud, anywhere you can just bring the data to your Power BI and you can start working with that. And that's why many executive levels like C-level people, they find it very much comfortable because sometimes even if they want to make any change in the dashboard, say they don't need to know any particular language to start working on that. They can just start making changes on the fly, right? So that's why this is very a powerful tool which allows you to uh, bring the data, transform the data, and then create visualizations on top of that data. And not only that, after that, you can share it with your colleagues and friends also. There are basically various products of Power BI. Okay, so you see here, first one is Power BI Desktop. Now, Power BI Desktop version is actually on-premise version. So you can just download from any search engine and then you can install it on your machine and you can start playing with the data. For this, you don't need any license. You don't have to pay anything. It is completely free of cost. So, and if you want to share this with your friends, you can just share. So when you work on Power BI file, it gives you PBIX file. So you can just share that file from anywhere. Okay. You can share it over email. Uh, you can share it over uh, maybe storage account. So I prefer to share it through storage account if I'm sharing on-premise workload, like on-premise Power BI. Okay, so that way you're not exposing it to anything. Another thing, sometimes the Power BI size is very huge, and if you are sharing it over email, then it becomes very huge email, and which is not preferred, right? But yeah, it's not preferred way. It's not recommended to share Power BI desktop version. So it is for your self purpose. Next one is Power BI service. Power BI service is an online service of Power BI. Okay, and using this, it's very easy to collaborate with your team members. It's very easy to share with your team members or colleagues or any friend. So this is the best possible way if you are working on any Power BI, but there are limitations to this. This is not free. Okay, Power BI desktop is free, and you can publish this Power BI desktop version to Power BI service, which is online version. But if you want to share it with any friend, or if you want to leverage any collaborative approach or anything, then you will have to purchase it. And there are different models that also I will talk about. Okay, so you need to sorry. Hello, Mike. I'll just put you on mute. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so you can go with Power BI service model, but if you want to share with your colleagues or friends, you need to purchase it. You need to purchase the license. Now there are different licensing versions. It's not that just there is just one license. So we'll talk even about that in the next slide in a couple of minutes. Okay. And then third one is Power BI Premium. So Power BI Premium is again one version of Power BI service, but then this is for large scale deployment. And we'll talk about why it is for large scale deployment. Okay. Then fourth one is Power BI Report Server. So if any one of you have ever worked with SQL Server reporting services, so this is similar to that, but they have merged these SQL Server reporting services with Power BI, and they have come up with Power BI reporting services for your on-premise solutions. So many customers may ask you what I should do if I have SSRS like SQL Server reporting services, and then I want to uh, I want to leverage, I want to bring it to Azure without making any change. So you can ask your customer to spin one virtual machine on Azure, and then you can deploy, you can install Power BI report server, and then they will be able to use the same thing. There are some prerequisites to that. I'm not going into detail, but I'm just giving you one highlight that what it is used for and when you can go for it. And then the last one, which is also a very important thing, called Power BI embedded. So Power BI embedded is something you developed your charts, you developed your dashboards, okay, and then you have published it to Power BI service, but you just want to use maybe one particular chart or one particular dashboard with any existing application, right? You have a .NET application or maybe Java application or any kind of application. You want to embed it with that application. So that time you have to go with Power BI embedded. So these are the different products of Power BI. So before you start working on Power BI, you need to understand which one you need. Do you want to use Power BI only for yourself, just for learning purpose, and all? Go with Power BI Desktop. It gives you all the flexibilities, all the features, except sharing and collaboration, and like until you're dealing with like huge volume of data. If you really if you don't have like very huge volume of data, and still you want to share your reports with your colleagues, and you want to get like you want to utilize another features of Power BI service or Power BI online, then you can go with Power BI service. But if you are a big organization and you know that data is going to be huge, you are going to work on like lot of transformations internally, and there'll be so basically there'll be a lot of things that you'll be dealing with. So then you have to go with Power BI Premium. And before deciding that, you have to keep even cost in your consideration. Okay, so in the next slide, you will understand the difference between the costings. And then Power BI embedded, Power BI report services. As I told you, if somebody already has SSRS, you can just install Power BI report services on any virtual machine on Azure, and then you can leverage this feature. And Power BI embedded, when you want to embed your report in any existing application or any new application, then you will go with Power BI embedded. So I think now you are clear about this thing, that what all products are there, and this is very important to understand. Okay, with this, I'll jump to the next slide. So Power BI pricing. Now, if you see, I'm not talking about the free version and all. Mainly, I'm talking about Pro and Premium license. Okay. So in Pro version, you see it is $9.99 monthly price per user, which is actually way cheaper than any other tool available in the market. Okay. But when you talk about premium, that price may give you a surprise that it looks huge, right? But when you are dealing with like huge data set and you know that you have a huge uh, uh, like your organization has many your organization size is very huge, and then you need to deal with, you need to share with many team members, and the requirement is the volume is very high, and the kind of frequency of access is very high. So in those cases, you go with Power BI Premium. And there is one more thing. When I will talk about data flows, you will understand that how Premium will give you a very big advantage over Power BI Pro or free version. So let me give you one brief information on that. That if you go with Power BI Premium and you are planning to use Power BI data flow, it gives you the flexibility to deal with data up to volume of 100 terabytes. So that's how Power BI Premium is very strong and very powerful. Okay, you can see the differences here, that Power BI Pro is self-service and modern BI in the cloud. Same thing that I told you, this self-service BI tool. Collaboration, publishing, sharing, and ad hoc analysis, fully managed by Microsoft. So it is fully managed by Microsoft. It means you don't have to be worried about the patching work or the maintenance of your Power BI. Everything will be taken care of by Microsoft, because this is actually platform as a service. Then we go with Power BI Premium, where you see you are dealing with enterprise BI, big data analytics, cloud and on-premises reporting, advanced administration and deployment controls, dedicated cloud compute and storage resources. And this is what I was saying, dedicated cloud compute and storage resources, where you can select whether you want to have your data lake Gen 2 as your storage. That is my last topic. I'll show you how you can do that. And then allow any users to consume Power BI content. Okay, so these are the features with Premium and Pro, and you see the pricing now. So you can understand that which feature will be better for you. And even if you go with Pro features, it gives you a free trial also for 60 days. And I am currently I'm using a free trial, so I'll show you. It is showing like 30 days still available for my free trial. So if you just want to work or play around with that, you can go with free trial, and then you can disable your account. So next one is transform, shape. Just a moment. Yeah. So next one is transform, shape, and model data. So here we are mainly going to talk about Power BI Desktop. What all things we are going to do here. So you can connect to the data, you can shape and combine the data. So basically, if you have data from various sources, then if you have data with yeah, from various sources, you can combine all those data, and then you can merge that data to create maybe a new table altogether. So many other things are there. We'll show you one by one. You can group rows, you can pivot columns, create custom columns, query formulas. So all these things help you in transforming and shaping the data. You can use quick measures to quickly and easily perform common powerful calculations. A quick measure runs a set of data analysis expressions. So DAX, whenever somebody talks about Power BI, you would have heard about DAX. DAX is data analysis expressions, which is similar to your Excel workbook. So when you are doing any query on Excel, so it looks DAX will be almost similar to that, but not exactly same as your Excel queries. Okay, so we'll show you how you can use DAX to create calculated measures, and then how you can do the calculated columns. Okay, so before going to the next slide, I want to begin with the demo part. So give me 1 second. So I'm going to just search Power BI desktop download. Okay, and I get the first link here. And you can go here, you can either click on this download, or you can go on advanced options, and then you can download from here. Okay, so you can select whichever you want. Yeah, so this is ready now. So you can click on that. So now you see, because I already have it installed, so it will not allow me to install it. So I'll cancel it, but you know how to install it now. And in this particular session, I have not created anything uh, already. Like in all my sessions, what I normally do, that I keep everything created and then I walk you through that how I have done that. But in this session, I have not created anything. I just want to show you step-by-step process that how you can perform any operation on this. And for doing that, I have one data set here. So this is my SQL Server on premise, and I have uh, this AdventureWorks 2017 database loaded here. So this will be my source, okay, for Power BI. And there is one more file that I will show. So I have this file, sales data sample. So this also will be one of my source for this demo, source file for this demo. So let's begin with this. So once you install this, you will get this page. You will get one more page which will be like get data. You can get rid of that, and then you will come to this particular page. So this is the first beginning page of Power BI. That's how it looks. Now let me show you what all things it has. So if you see the left side on the first one, which is called report. So basically you can create all the charts and reports on this particular page. Okay. And this particular page, you can see this layout, which has a fixed height and width, but you can change it also. And you can go here, you see page size, it is type, you can change it to custom, and then you can select like whatever width and height you want. Okay, so I will go by default for now, but I just wanted to tell you what all things you can do here. Then your page background, so the color is white, but I can select to change it to any color. Okay, and remember this, the transparency is set to 100. That's why even if you will change the color, you will see nothing happened here. So don't worry, you just have to change the transparency here, or else you can just add any image. So this is about page background. Then you have page alignment, you have wallpaper. Okay, so all these things are there. So if you want to change anything, you can just make the changes here. Next one is data. Okay, let's come here. We don't have any data here right now, so let's skip for this now. And third one is this, set up your layout. So this is where you do your modeling. Okay, because we don't have data anywhere, so we can't see anything here. So let's come back to the first one. Then right side, rightmost, you see fields. So once you have the data, you will be able to see all the tables and the columns created here. Here you have visualizations. So what kind of chart you want to see and what kind of chart you want to bring on this dashboard. So you can select directly from here. And you see there are very limited things here, right? So you don't have to be worried about that, because if you want to take advantage of any other chart available from the marketplace, so that option is also available. Okay, so let me show you from here. So you can see this. You have this option, import a visual from a file, get more visuals. So if you click on get more visuals, okay, it will take you to 1 second. It will take you to one URL. I'll show you that also. Give me some time. Yeah. So so when you click on that, import more, it will bring you to this gallery. Actually, this is called custom visual gallery. So you can see there are many visuals here, and you can select any of these. But be careful when you choose this, because there'll be few approved, like Microsoft approved, and few will not be Microsoft approved. So you see for this example, this visual is certified by Power BI. But if you see this one is not certified. Again, if you come here, this is certified by Power BI. So if you see this blue tick, it means this is certified. Okay. So this is about your visualizations. And then this pane is filter. So you can have filter maybe on page level, or you can have filter on one particular chart level. So when you'll add the chart, you will see that. On top, you have a home. So in home ribbon, you have get data. and there are some like by default, like for fast access they have given here. Then you have transform data. So once you bring the data, you can perform certain transformations on top of that data. Then new visual, text box, more visuals. So all these features are there in home. Then you can go to insert if you want to insert more visuals. Okay, from here, from app source or from my files, you can go and insert image. Okay, it will ask you, it will take you to your file folder structure, and then you can add any image here. You can add any shape, any button, any text box. So all these things can be added from here. Then you have modeling. You can have new table, new parameter. You see all these things right now are grayed out because we don't have any data right now. Okay, and then you have view. So there are different kind of visualizations that you can go for. Okay, okay, David. So I will send you. So I'll share the video once it is there. Thank you. Okay, and there is one more thing here. So you see page view. So when you click on this, there is fit to page, then fit to width. Okay, and then there is actual size. So you will be wondering that everything looks same here, but when you will change the size, let me show you that. So suppose I go here and I try to change the size and I make it custom. Maybe I'll make it height, I'll make it maybe 4000. So now you see, you will be able to draw, you will be able to bring all the visualizations only in this area, only in this area within this dotted line. Outside you can't do anything. So for that, we have to go with fit to width. When you do this, then you will be able to bring any visualizations here and you can drag it down like that. So it will become a uh, vertical visualization. Okay, so let me revert these things. Okay, and after this, now we are going to get the data from here. So click on get data. You see there are many sources. You can click on more. And you see there are so many sources available here. So you don't have to be worried about whether Power BI supports this source or not, because it supports almost every data source. So in our case, we are going with database, and which is SQL Server. So let's search for it. Oh, so the first one is SQL Server database. So I can click on this, connect, and I have to give server name. So my server name is this. Okay. Now there is data connectivity mode, which is import and direct query. And this is important to understand. And I will talk about this in a couple of minutes in a different slide. But this is important to understand. What is this data connectivity mode? When you go for import mode, okay, it means you are bringing the data to Power BI in memory. So definitely the performance will be very good. But the problem is when you are dealing with huge data. Okay, if you're dealing with maybe 50 GB of data or 100 GB of data, that you cannot bring it here. There's a limitation with import mode. I think that is 20 GB. I need to check, but I think it is 20 GB. So if you have data volume more than 20 GB, that you cannot go for import mode. Another thing, you remember, if you are bringing even 10 GB of data in import mode, it means your Power BI file size will become 10 GB. Got it? So you have to be careful in that sense, that if you don't want your Power BI version to become very kind of very big or very huge, then don't go for import mode. Use import mode only when you know the data volume is small. Second one is direct query. In direct query mode, it will not bring the data to Power BI in memory. Okay, it will go and fetch the data directly from the source. So in this case, my source is going to be my on-premise SQL Server. So it will go directly and fetch the data from the source. And this way, the performance of Power BI completely depends upon your SQL database performance or your source performance. If your source is not performing well, then this will be bad. That's why it is always recommended that if you are having any data warehouse and you want to create Power BI dashboard on top of that, it is always recommended to go with Azure Analysis Services as a layer between Power BI and your data warehouse. That way it gives you a flexibility to make it quite faster. Okay, so even if you're dealing with very huge volume of data, it's always better that you go with Azure Analysis Services, or if you are going with on-premise and SQL Server Analysis Services, that will make it very fast. So in this case also I'll go with direct query because I don't want to bring entire Adventure Works data on my local version of Power BI. Okay, there are some advanced options. Command timeout if you want to define, or if you want to give some uh, select SQL select statement, that also you can do. Otherwise you can just leave it as it is. So in this,
Prashant, quick question. Does Azure
yeah,
Analysis Services require licensing? Will it
yes,
come as
yes.
part of the the premium one which you mentioned before?
No, Sujata, it won't come free. So basically, it's a part of Azure services. So when you, so you can go with your maybe uh, like free credit that you get on Azure. So you can use that, or else if you have pay as you go service, then you will use Azure Analysis Services, and then you will have to pay as per the usage. So Azure Analysis Services will not come as a bundled package with Power BI.
So the pricing will be based on the data size, right? Like how much
Yes,
GB it is. Okay. Okay.
exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so let's go with direct query mode. I'll click on OK, and then it will ask me the username password, and many people make mistake here. So be careful on this because many people try to enter credentials here and it fail. You have to give credentials for your database. Okay, so I am going to give credential for my database. Can you people please put your mic on mute? Okay, fine. So you can see, I can see all my tables and views here. Okay, so we can select all. Okay, so I have selected all. It may take some time to load, but never mind. I just wanted to show these features. That's why I'm selecting all. Okay, and then you can go for transform data or you can directly load it first. So let me try to load it first, and then I will try to show what all transformations we can perform on this data. Okay, so when this will try to load the data, you will see this thing. There are pending changes in your queries that have not been applied. And not only at this time, sometimes when somebody is making any change in the data underneath, uh, that time also you will get this warning. So you'll have to go ahead and make click on this apply changes, and those changes will be applied on the reports or the charts that you are using on your dashboard. Okay, if you don't do that, then even if the data is refreshed, your report will not be refreshed, your charts will not be refreshed. So you have to always apply change, and I'll show you how you can do that before coming to this page. So give it a couple of minutes because it's trying to set up the connection. Yeah, and it is done. So you understand, you have to understand this because I went with direct connection mode. That's why it got connected very fast. If I had tried to go with import mode, then it would have taken at least maybe 15-20 minutes to bring all those data to on-premise to the Power BI cache memory. Okay, so now we have all the data available here. So let's go for this. Okay, so one good thing about this, you see that automatically it has created the model for you. So if your data warehouse is well designed, then the Power BI will create your model automatically without you without making any changes specifically. So you see everything is, even the relationship, everything is uh, set up already, right? Now, one more thing that you have to understand, that it's not 100% correct that whatever relation it has built by default will be correct. So you have to verify. Okay, if you feel anything is wrong, then go ahead and make the changes. Sometimes because it's making those assumptions based on the data, right? Or maybe the relationship that you have already defined in your database. So sometimes even it happens, even if you have not defined any relationship in your data warehouse, it will try to build the relation based on the data. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. So don't completely rely upon this. You still go inside and check if the relationship is correct. If not, then make the required changes. Okay, so now we have the data. Now let's try to create some charts or dashboards quickly without making any change. So let me expand it a little bit. Okay, let's try to bring it with sales maybe. Maybe sales store. Okay. And I will just, okay. And remember this one, this brush kind of logo is for editing the page. And when you come back here, it will bring you to all the values, fields, whatever you want to add. So what I will do, first I want to select a chart type, what chart I want to use. So suppose I just want to see the count of number of sales. Just give me one moment. Okay, Brent is asking, can you show the setting that determines import versus direct connect? So when you will try to click on this, get data. Okay, and suppose I select here database, SQL Server database, connect. So here when you will try to provide the details, it will ask you whether you want to go with import method or direct query. So is this clear, Brent? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I want to just show the count of maybe sales or whatever. So just go by this. Business entity ID, I don't want to pull sales reason. Okay, let's go with sales customer. Okay, that may be number of customers and based on territory. So what I will do, I will create this. So I want to select suppose this chart. So you see you can drag and drop like and you can make it large, small, any size. And then I am going to select here maybe person ID. I just want to maybe check the count of person. So here if you see it is saying access, but I want to bring it in values and which will give me count of person ID. Okay. But now this is giving me just count of person ID. When I click on this, it will give you even count distinct. Okay, so this is also possible. So in this case, I think 19,120. Let's check if I go directly with count. Then 1900, 119. Okay, so there is some difference, but it's okay. So I'll go with this and then we have to decide the access. So what will be my access? So in this case, maybe I will go with account number. Okay. And let me try to do it this way. So can you see this thing? There are many account numbers. So that's why I need to drag it like this. And then you can see everything is showing the same chart or same size. Okay, count of person ID 1 and everything is 1 actually. Reason is that account number is always associated, one account number is always associated with one person. So that's why it is the number is just 1. But let me try to bring some other data which will be little meaningful. But before that, Mike is asking, Mike, can you use Windows authorization to connect to SQL Server? Yes, Mike, you can use even Windows authorization to connect to SQL Server. Okay, and then let me try to bring some other data here. Okay, let's go to purchase order detail. And in this, I will try to bring maybe received quantity. Right, I am going to get rid of the previous one, so you can just delete it So received quantity total it is showing is approximately 2.5 million, and then I have to select the axis. So in this case, maybe I will try to select axis based on due date, right? So you see now, just with couple of clicks, my report is ready. Okay. Now there are a couple of things that you can see here. So one is tooltip. You can maybe try to add tooltip here also. Received quantity. So if we go here, then it will show you the value. Okay. And then there is one more feature that you need to check. X-axis. Here you have type continuous or categorical. So if you select categorical, it will give you like this. If you are going with continuous, then you get like this. So continuous means it will give you like every date. Otherwise, it will try to bring a form a category, and then based on that, it will try to show you the design. And then you have linear. Okay. Then color also, you can change the color. So all these settings are there. You can change the text size. So all these features, you can play around with all these things in Power BI. So no problem here. There is one more thing that I want to show. If you see due date, it is coming in this format, but maybe I just want to see the date. I am not worried about time because everything is same. Okay. And then in this case, you can click here and then you see you have format. That's it. And you have changed the format. So you see how fast the transformation is working here. But same thing if you had to implement in SQL, then you know you have to write a query and you have to modify the view or procedure, then only you will be able to get this. But in Power BI, it's just like a couple of clicks and you are ready. So this is one thing. So let me try to minimize it. Okay. And before that, Arju is asking a question. When do you choose direct query? And Mohit has replied. Thanks, Mohit. Okay. So this is one. Now, similar way, you can bring in even other charts here. Okay. And simple way means you don't have to do anything much. And let me show you even other charts or maybe even a table, right? So this is a table. I bring it here. And maybe I just want to show some data in simple tabular format and maybe product model. Let's go here. Description. That's bad example. Name. Or maybe. Okay. This is some random example. So, and you can change the column this way. So you saw just now that I can just bring it up or bring it below based on the requirement. Then that's it. Now we have two different things here. One we have tabular form, tabular report, and one we have chart. Now we come to filters. As I told you earlier that there are two types of filter here. One is page level filter and one is chart level filter. So here I will try to add a filter on this chart shelf. Okay, so it's already added because what happens the moment you bring in any field to any chart, that automatically gets added to uh, the filter, that report, that particular chart level filter. Okay, so it's already added here. So if you want to make any changes here, you want to maybe show data only for A, or if you want to show data maybe for only A, B, and C, you can select that and it's done, right? But this will not impact your other charts. So this is called chart level filter or visual level filter. Okay, but sometimes I want to add a filter on the entire page, maybe based on account name or maybe based on the product name. Okay, so let's try to do this, or maybe product class. So I will add here this class, and if you filter this, the value will change according to the filter. So you see both the charts are changing based on the filter that we are selecting here. So this is page level filter. Okay. So now you know what are fields, visualizations, filters, everything. But one thing I don't know if you guys observed here, that there used to be one edit button here for table button that is missing now. And that's because we have used a direct query mode. If you go with import mode, then only you will be able to see that table part. Okay, so that is a difference in the visualization. But now I'll show you one more thing which is related to transformation. So you can go and click on this transform data. So when you click on transform data, it will open another window. And this is the place where actually you can try to make changes to your data model, or to basically your data. If you want to add any custom column, if you want to add any new table or any changes, you want to perform any transformation on the data, all those things can be performed here. Okay. And so you see on top ribbon, you will see there are many things over here. So you have Azure Machine Learning, you have text analytics. Forget about those things for now, because I will not be covering those things in this session. You have merged queries, append queries, then data type. You can change the data type. This feature is very interesting. Use first row as headers. So sometimes what happens when you try to bring data from CSV file, and it will consider even the header as the first record. So you have to tell Power BI that my first record is not the record, actually it's my header. So when you do that, then it will consider your header as header. Otherwise, it will create another header on top of your data, like column 0, column 1, column 2. Okay, so don't be surprised when you try to bring the data and you see that kind of uh, column names. Okay, so you have this. You can remove columns, you can keep rows. Okay, keep top rows, bottom rows, whatever. So all these features are there. You can explore all these features. There is nothing wrong. And I will tell you what happens if you make any mistake. So what I will do, suppose this one I will delete. So you see what happened. The moment I performed one step, it added one step in here, in this particular area, which is called applied steps. So you don't have to worry about that okay, I deleted it by mistake, what to do. You can just go ahead and delete that step and you will get it back. Okay, so any operation that you perform here, one step will be added here. So let's try to do this. uh, let's try to make some changes. Maybe transform, sorry, go to transform, and we'll try to replace some values. Okay, let's do this. Maybe we will try to replace a value for engineering. We'll just try to replace it by um, kind of engineer. Let's just a random change. Okay, so I'll click on this and replace values. So I can do from here also, or else I can right click on this and I can do say similar kind of transformation from here also on any particular column. Okay, so let's try to do this, replace values. So value to find. So what value you want to find? Engineering. And you want to replace it with maybe engineer. Okay, there are some advanced options. Match entire cell contents, replace using special characters. We don't want to do all those things, but yeah, if you want, you can play around with that and click on OK. Okay, now there is one problem here that you see. It is saying this step results in a query that is not supported in direct query mode. Okay, so it will ask you to change it to import mode. This is what I was saying, that when you are when you are performing it, any transformation, it will not allow you to do certain things. So that way you will have to go with import method in those cases. But still, I'll show you how we can implement these things. Okay, so right now we are not switching it, so leave it. Now you made this change and you feel that there is a mistake or anything, you can just go ahead and delete it, and this thing is gone. But once you make any change here, you will see this button here, which is close and apply. So there are things here you can just close without making apply, or you can apply without closing it, or close and apply. When you are done with the transformations, you can close and apply. Okay. Now there is something called advanced editor. So in advanced editor, you will see there is something means it contains all the details. What was your source? Okay, and then what is so basically it is saying human resource department, because we have selected that particular table right now, that schema. So it will give you everything, and using this also you can enable parameters. Okay, so I didn't prepare the demo for parameters section here, but if you start working with this and you want to explore this feature, You remember this, you can come here and add the parameter here in your advanced editor, and then whenever you will try to refresh, it will ask you for the parameter value, and that's it. You will be able to make the changes. Okay, then you can go with add column. Now this is a feature which you will see being used very frequently. Okay, just 1 second. Brent is asking a very relevant question that can you show how to convert a date time field to date only? Yes. So this is a data type, right? I think this is date time. Let's see that. Go to transform and you see here the data type is date time. So what you need to do, you just go here and change it to date. That's it, done. It's as simple as that. But remember this, you have made this change. So you have to apply. I'm not closing it right now. I'll just apply. So when you will apply, these changes will be reflected in your charts and dashboards. Okay. So now if we are using this thing here, it will be changed automatically. Okay. So this is also one of the transformation. And then let's go to add column. Now for adding columns also, there are various different ways. Okay. One way is column from examples. Okay. One is custom column, invoke, custom function, conditional column, index column. So there are many things here, and all these things you can perform without writing a code. Okay, there will be some small codes, but not like you have to write a SQL code or anything here. Okay, so let's try to do this. Index column is also a very interesting thing. Sometimes suppose you are trying to bring the data from CSV format or Excel format, you have the data, but you don't have identity column, means you don't have any column with the sequence number, right? So in that case, you can go with index column. It will ask you. So if you just click on this, it will create index column here. That's it. Okay, from 0 or from 1, it depends. Like you can actually decide whether you want to keep your starting index 0 or 1, and you want to increment it by 1, 2 or whatever number. So it's as easy as that. Okay, I don't want this right now, so let's get rid of this. Okay, then you have custom column. So you can give a column name, anything. Maybe I'll just give custom column and equal to, maybe I'll give a group name. And suppose I want to merge it with another column. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so you have this group name and name. So I just want to merge it in one separate column called custom column, or I will just call it merged and click on OK. So you see both the columns are merged now, right? So you have this merged column now. Now you can use this for any particular thing. Now again, once you made the change, you have to click on apply. Okay, done. So I made these changes. So now you have a little bit idea about Power BI. So let's jump to the presentation, and then again we'll come back to this one. Okay, so I still have to show you how to create measures and all. So I'll show you in just a couple of minutes. So before that, so let's see this, what we can do. So we connected to the data. We tried to shape and combine the data here, grouping of rows, pivot columns and all. I'm not showing you right now because those things will again take a lot of time, but you can definitely play around with that. Create custom column, I just showed you. Then query formulas. So this is something that I will show you in a couple of minutes. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Create your own measure. Okay, so if you have already worked with data warehouse and this reporting dashboards and all these things, so you know what is a measure, right? And this gives you the flexibility to create a custom measure or your own measure in fly, right? Again, you don't have to write a very big query, but yeah, you need to be familiar with DAX queries here, DAX expressions here. Okay, and it's not very complicated. It's similar to Excel, but still there are certain situations when you are dealing with complex scenarios, then it might be a little tricky. Okay, so you have to be careful with that, and I'll show you in a couple of minutes how you can create a custom query, custom measure. The next one is about calculated columns, and this is what we did just now. Okay, and right now I showed you after going to the transform editor, but I'll show you how you can create a custom column on your main page itself, on main Power BI page itself. Okay, so let's go to that. I'm going back again to Power BI. So let's take example of this one only. So you see here we have a quick measure, okay, or new measure. So when I click on this, it will open a yeah. So you see this here, you will get this one measure equal to something, right? So we need to write something here. So what I'll do, I'll just try to type sum. Okay, maybe sum of department name, right? Anything is fine. I'm just taking one example here. And I'm just calling it department count. Okay, so now you see department count has come here. Okay, and suppose I want to just show this as KPI. So I will use this. I need to use another one here. Oh, okay. I have used, instead of sum, I should have used count. That's why it is showing me error. Okay, so now we have this thing here. So normally we create measures to show KPIs and all. So it's very easy to create measures here. And because this was very simple one, you see, it was a very simple one. So it was just count and sum, but sometimes when it is complicated or very complex a scenario, then this DAX expression could be tricky. So this is called DAX expression that you see here. Okay. And similar way, you can create a custom column here. It's called new column. Okay. So here also you see it will come in the same way. So here also I can do the same thing. Function class. Okay, so you see this custom column is already created here. So there are two ways of doing this. As I said, you can do it in DAX. This is DAX, or you can do directly in your this one. Okay, this is actually called mQuery when we are making changes here. Whatever we are doing here, this is actually called mQuery, and what we are doing here, this is called DAX. Okay, so when you perform anything in DAX, it will be faster because it does in memory. So that's why many people recommend you to go with DAX queries to make this thing faster. Okay, but it depends on scenarios. Like it's not always hard and fast rule to go with DAX. You can decide whether you want to go with DAX or mQuery. Okay, so you need to remember this, that the Power BI supports two different languages. One is DAX script and then one is mQuery. So when you go on transform data, you will be making changes using mQuery, and when you are making changes here, you will be making changes using DAX script. Okay, so once everything is done, now you know how to create measures, how to create custom column, how can you transform the data. Sorry, how can you transform the data, how you can add images and other things. So now you are pretty much familiar with Power BI, right? Let's jump to the slide and finish. Let's try to finish up the remaining two slides related to Power BI, and then we'll jump to data flow. Okay, next one is publish. So now you have your Power BI desktop version where you try to bring the data, you try to create some dashboard. Out of that, you try to perform some transformations on the data. All those things are done. Now, when you want to share it with your colleagues, with your work, with your team members, then how will you do it? So as I told you, you can directly share your PBIX file, right? And that also, let me show you that if I try to save this file, you see this is PBIX file. Okay, so either you can save this PBIX file or you can publish it to Power BI service. So when you publish it to Power BI service, it will go to your My Workplace, okay, which will be actually your workspace. And then if you want to share it, you need to be either a pro user or a premium license. Okay, so that you need to take care of. And not only you, whomever you are sharing it with. Okay, they also need to have pro or premium license. If they don't have, they will not be able to see the shared dashboard with them. And this is very important because sometimes we assume that if I have pro license or premium license, I can share it with anybody. Even if they don't have, they'll be able to see it. But that's a wrong assumption. Okay. They also need to have pro or premium license. Then only they will be able to see the dashboard which has been shared with them. Okay. So you share on Power BI service, and then you can integrate it with OneDrive. You can print reports and all these features. I'll show you that how you can perform all those things when you publish it. So let's go to Power BI and try to publish it now. So let me close this. Okay, and try to publish it. So before publishing it, will ask you to save because I have not yet saved. So let me try to save it. Okay, and then automatically it will take me here, whether you want to publish it My Workplace, Azure Data Platform. I already have these many workspaces created, so I will try to publish it on azuredataplatform.com. So it will take a couple of minutes and then it will publish it there. Done. So once it is published, it will ask you open in Power BI. Okay, so I clicked on this and then it will ask me to sign in. So this is Power BI service. This is the next product. So now you see whatever work we did here on Power BI desktop version, now that is available on Power BI service. And here you see, as I mentioned earlier, that this is pro trial period for me and 30 days left. So it gives you 60 days free trial. So for me, 30 days already over, 30 days are left out. So now we have come here, it is published now. Okay. Next, jump back to the slide again. Next one is schedule refresh. Okay, and this one is important topic and very important to understand that how refresh works. So you see there are two diagrams here. One is Power BI offers various ways of sharing and collaborating with colleagues on your dashboards, reports, and data, including this and this I have shared. So it includes this one, say import mode, and then direct query or live connect mode. Okay, and then we spoke about direct query mode and import mode, but we did not speak about live connect mode. So any of you are aware of this one, live connect mode? Any of you have ever worked with live data on Power BI? Okay, I guess no. So this is a very good feature from Power BI where suppose you are dealing with any IoT data or you want to see a live dashboard, right? So if you want to see a live dashboard, then you can use Power BI and which is called Live Connect mode. And this does not happen directly and this does not happen on Power BI desktop. It happens on Power BI services. Okay, so how you can leverage that? It is leveraged using Stream Analytics. So there is a Azure service which is called Stream Analytics, where your source can be your Event Hub, your IoT Hub, or any streaming data or any streaming source can be your input, and your output can be directly your Power BI. So if you have a Power BI deployed on your subscription, so you have the Power BI tenant under that subscription, you will be able to streamline directly the incoming data to Power BI. So that way it is so that way what happens, you don't need to refresh that Power BI again and again. Whenever there is new data, automatically it will refresh the Power BI dashboard. So that's why a recent example that Microsoft implemented on one racetrack, I think. Yeah. So they used Cosmos DB and they used Power BI, Stream Analytics, all these sources for that solution, where they tried to show the live location of the car on dashboard. That was definitely using custom visuals, but they leveraged the feature of Stream Analytics or basically Live Connect mode. So Stream Analytics was ingesting or was refreshing the data directly on Power BI. You are not doing anything. It is there directly on screen and it is refreshing it. Okay, that's why it's important to mention these three modes here, that how refresh works. So first one is import mode, where Power BI imports the source data. As I already told you, in import mode, Power BI will import the source data in Power BI in memory, and then it will. So whenever you will try to uh, click on any dashboard or any report, it will happen in memory and it will be faster. When you are going on direct query mode and you try to refresh it, it will go and try to fetch the data from the source. So it does not bring the data here. It goes to the source. It will try to bring the latest data from the source to your Power BI, to your charts and dashboard. So it's not bringing the data. It's going to the data source to get the refreshed, to get the latest records. So, and in case of Stream Analytics or any other similar process, it will push the data. Okay, uh, it does not queries on the source data, or it does not import the data, but these processes will push the data to Power BI. That way you don't have to refresh it. Okay, and second one, second diagram that you see here, this one, we are talking on-premise data gateway. And this is also very important because sometimes when your data is residing on your on-premise and you want to refresh it, right? And you want to maybe use that data. Suppose you are working on any virtual machine and the data is residing on that virtual machine, and then you want to refresh that data in a periodic way. So in that case, you have to go through on-premise data gateway. And I'll talk about this in a couple of minutes, that how you can have on-premise data gateway and how you can bring that data, that on-premise data to Power BI. Okay, so this is the same thing. You have public network, then private network. So on your private network means your virtual machine or your local machine, which is on your private network, and then you can connect your private network to public network using on-premise data gateway. Okay, and once you do that, then your data means you will be able to refresh your data set. So these are the main aspects of refreshing the data. Okay, and you can schedule this refreshing. So let me go back to Power BI again and let me show you how you can refresh it. So one option you see here, refresh, and many people get confused by that. And when you click on this, it does not refresh the data. It just refreshes your dashboard based on the data underneath. Okay, so don't get confused by this. Many people have this misconception about this one. So what I'll do, I will go to this. I will click on dataset. So basically, this is my workspace. And in workspace, this is the Azure data platform where I publish it. And then I'll go to my datasets. Okay, in my datasets, I can see Power BI demo. And here, this link is schedule refresh. This one is create report using this dataset. This one is refresh now. so you can refresh it directly right away without scheduling it. Okay, and then there is view related. So I'm not covering this part right now. So, and there are other features here, download PBIX file, manage permissions and other things. So let's go and try to schedule it. Okay, so my gateway connection is there. So it will show you, uh, I already have a gateway connection. Okay, but I will show you how I have installed it. So let's forget about that right now. But it is asking for refresh history. So you see it was refreshed once, so you can see this refresh history because when you publish it, it will refresh it that time. So it will show you that time. And then schedule cache refresh. Okay, so it will ask you how frequently you want to schedule cache refresh, because based on that, it will try to uh, refresh the cache memory. And if you try to refresh the cache memory as fast as possible, it will give you more frequency, or it will give you more up-to-date data. Okay, so this is one thing. So minimum you can go with 15 minutes. Okay, and there is another one. So because we are right now in this direct query mode, if it is direct import mode, then there will be another feature called schedule refresh that you will see, and it will ask you to enter the time and other details. So that I will show when I'll be talking about data flow. And yeah, Brent is asking a question: is Stream Analytics a service available within BI, or does it need to be added? So Stream Analytics is another service, Brent, which is available on Azure platform. Basically, it is again the same thing like Azure Analysis Services, that if you want to use as Stream Analytics, you will be charged based on the data ingestion, or based on the data that you are using for input and output. Okay, so it's not free of cost, but if you have your free subscription for $150, that normally you get when you uh, uh, try to join Power BI, sorry, when you try to join Azure. So you can use that within that $150, but once it's over, then you will be charged. So basically there is a charge for that, separate charge for that. Is that clear, Brent? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so with this, I will try to take a short break for a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back. Is that okay? And then we'll talk about our next section, which is uh, data flow. Okay, is that okay with you if I take a couple of minutes break? Cool. So I'll be just back in 2-3 minutes. Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm back. Okay, so I hope everyone is back now. So I'll start with this. Uh, so as we can see on this slide, Power BI introduces data flows to help organizations unify data from disparate sources and prepare it for modeling. Analysts can easily create data flows using familiar self-service tools. Data flows are used to ingest, transform, integrate, and enrich big data by defining data source connections, ETL logic, refresh schedules, and more. So there was a reason behind why did I try to cover introduction to Power BI before coming to data flow. Okay, so the main reason was that all the features that I showed you in introduction to Power BI section, you will find almost all the features available in data flow. That's why it was important for you to understand that what all features do we have on normal Power BI without data flow. And then it will make more sense when you come to data flow part. Now the question is, why data flow? If we can perform all these things in Power BI directly, then why they are adding data flow? So the answer for that question resides here. If you see this part, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Okay, and this is very important. So in this, when you try to create a data flow, it actually creates one entity. That entity does not reside in your actual source, or does not reside in your on-premise or anywhere. It actually resides in Data Lake Gen 2. Okay. If you are aware of Azure Data Lake in Microsoft, so there are two versions of Azure Data Lake. One is Data Lake Gen 1 and then Data Lake Gen 2. Now I have spoke about this in my previous sessions that the major difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2 is basically Gen 2 is built on top of Blob. Okay. And it enables the hierarchical name space in your blob storage. So that way it makes very much convenient for the end users to propagate any property changes underneath all the folders or the files any inside any directory or any file. Okay, so that way it becomes very helpful. And because it is built on top of on top of blob, a normal blob storage, that's why the cost is also very low. It's not as high as Data Lake Gen 1. Third one is it is optimized for uh, operations like which can be which is related to Hadoop platform, right? Any big data related problem, I think it is optimized for that. It supports Hadoop platform. So that way, this is a very good or well suited data storage solution for big data related problem. And they are leveraging that feature with Power BI now. So what it does, actually, it brings the data, it creates the entity in your data lake storage gen 2. So, and whatever transformations you want to perform on top of that data, it performs all the transformations on data lake gen 2 itself. It does not bring the transformation to your Power BI and then it tries to perform. So that way it saves your time. It makes the what do you say? It makes the performance better. And another feature is related to the storage. So it supports up to 100 terabyte of size if you are in premium, if you have premium license. If not, then I think the size is just 10 GB. But if you are going with this data flow feature, there is one assumption that definitely you are dealing with enterprise level architecture and you are dealing with huge volume of data. So that way definitely you will be going with premium license. And most of the enterprise companies, it is for enterprise level companies, it is recommended to go with premium license. And if you already have premium license, then you are going to leverage 100 terabyte of feature on Data Lake Gen 2. So that way it becomes very flexible. Now, if you see this layer, first of all, data sources. So basically it is talking about heterogeneous sources. You can bring data from various sources to data flow to this entity, right? You can create entity using heterogeneous data sources. And once you bring here, you can see these are the entities and then these are linked entities. So that also I'll talk about in a couple of minutes that what are linked entities and what are entities. And then you see you are performing compute on top of this. And then that data also resides within Data Lake Gen 2 itself. After doing this, after performing all the compute transformations, everything, when you refresh the data, then you bring only the record, only the output record to your Power BI. So you imagine that how it is going to enhance your performance. So this is very important to understand that first of all, why data flow? Because for me also, this was the very first question when I started working on data flow, why we are even using data flow if we have already those features available on Power BI directly, right? So this gives you the clear answer that why data flow. So then it brings only the result set to your data set in your Power BI, and then you can build your reports, dashboards, everything that you want to leverage. So this is about introduction. Let's go to next slide is connected to data sources with data flows. So when you try to create a new data flow, you will see this screen. In this screen, you have define new entities, link entities from other data flows, and then attach an external CDM folder. So I definitely would like to ask this question. How many of you are aware of common data model? Any one of you have ever worked with common data model? Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so a couple of people have heard about it and know a little bit about it. So good to know. So common data model is actually a kind of data model which is defined based on an organization or a group. So when you are trying to work with any data set, you have a predefined data model. So you can leverage that data model to build, to start directly working on any data. Okay, and that data model again resides on data lake Gen 2 here in this case. So whenever you are trying to bring your data, you try to match that with the existing common data model prescribed by or referred by your organization or your group. And that way, you can make sure that wherever the source, wherever the data is coming from, wherever whoever is uploading the data, right? Everything is in sync with a common data model. It's not going like someone is not bringing a data which is having some different columns and then again different values in the not different values in the sense. Sorry, one second. Mohit is asking a question. Example of CDP is Power BI data set. CDM is Power BI data set. Power BI data set is not one example of CDM because data set you create, right? But in data flow, when you are trying to bring any new data source, that time you can leverage CDM. So I'll show you that how you can actually leverage CDM here, common data model. So the data set that you create on Power BI is not actually a CDM, but uh, you can publish that data model as CDM. That is true. So basically, yeah, you can say that this is one example of CDM. When you create a data model here, and basically you try to make it one industry standard from for your organization, for your group, then that becomes one CDM. Okay, so I'll show you this thing. So let's jump to Power BI services, and then we will understand it better. Okay, so I have created this workspace data flow demo, but uh, so let's do this. So when you create any new workspace, first of all, you need to understand how do you create a new workspace. So you click on workspace, you go to click on this, create new workspace, you give a name. There are some advanced features here. Okay, work admin, dedicated capacity. So this is disabled for most of us until it is premium. And then develop a template app. Okay, so or else just you can just go by the default, just give a name and your workspace will be created. Okay. One thing you be careful about, because recently I experienced one problem and I'll talk about it, because of which I will not be able to cover one particular demo. So what happens that when you try to create this one, when you try to first or log into app.powerbi.com, so anybody from your organization will first create this. It actually picks up the location based on that user. So suppose you have an organization and some people are, give me one moment. Okay, so suppose you are working in one organization and some people are working from United States, some people are working from India, some people are working from maybe Europe. Okay, but the first person who created, who logged into this powerbi.com is residing in suppose India. Okay, but most of your resources are in USA. But still it will create this uh, source based on the first user where the first user has created this. So that way you have to be careful. So when you try to log in first time, it will ask you about your name details and your location. So that time you don't put your location, you try to put the location where most of your team members are residing. This thing I was also not aware of, I got to know recently. And how you can find that out, that if you go to this about Power BI, it will show you. So this is what happened with me. I used my email ID from India and it picked up your data is stored in central India. So you have to be careful about this one. I was not aware of this, so it has done this with me. But and once you have done that, you can't change it. That's how it is built. So you have to be careful on this part. Okay, so now let's come to the workspace. You have this workspace. Once you create this workspace, you will see dashboards, reports, workbooks, data sets, and data flows. So I have created one data flow, but suppose I have not created this data flow. So I'll go and click on this, and then we have data flow here. So you can see this screen, what I showed on Power on presentation right now, along with one additional feature, attach a common data model for a folder. This is in preview state. But this one, define new entities, link entities from other data flows, import model. So what happens? Define new entities. Here you can bring in your new sources and you can define the entity, and where the entity will be residing, it will be residing on data lake Gen2. Then you can link entities from other data flows. So basically you define some entities and you want to create maybe new entity linking to the source entity. Okay, so that also can be performed here. And this is a very good feature because you'll be able to perform multiple transformations on your source entity. And then again, you can store the result back in data lake Gen2 there. Okay, so let's begin with this, add new entity. This is the first step for data flow. And it does not support all the sources that your normal Power BI supports. So gradually they are adding sources one by one. Okay, so you can see all the sources are there. So in this particular case, maybe I'd like to go with again SQL Server. So let's try to find out where it is. I'll go to database and SQL Server database. Now you see, I want to connect this one through my on-premise SQL Server. Now, definitely when I was working with Power BI desktop version, that was also on my local machine, and my SQL Server is also on my local machine. So it did not ask me for any gateway or anything to set up a connection, right? But this one is Power BI service, which is on cloud. And now my data means my SQL Server is residing on-premise. So it is asking for a connection. If I don't give the connection, it will fail. Let's try that. So this is my server name, my database. I'll give my database name. Okay. And then I'll give my password. Okay, I'll try to connect it. So you see automatically it has picked up my gateway because I had already used it. If I had not used it, it wouldn't have picked up anything. It would have failed. Okay. But the question is, how did I create this gateway, right? So for that, let me cancel this and I'll show you once again. So I'm going to go Power BI Gateway download. Okay, so here it is connect to on-premises data sources with Power BI Gateway. So I will use download standard mode. This is what you will also use if you want to use it with um, Dataflow or even Power BI. So let it download. I already have it installed, but still I'll show you how it works. Okay, so it is downloaded. Let me click on this. Okay, so you see it is already installed on my machine. So it will not allow me to install it again, but it's a simple installation. You can just go by default and it will ask you to, yeah, you can just go by default and it will take you to gateway. And this is my gateway that you see. Once it is done, everything will be ready. And I have given a name to this. Okay, so that's why it is there. And let me try to sign in. Remember, it will ask you to sign in. Based on that only, it will create that connection with your Power BI service. Okay, so you see the gateway, Prashant on-prem gateway is online and ready to be used. So this is the name that I had given, Prashant on-prem gateway. Okay, and so you will be able to use these services directly to connect to my on-premise SQL Server or any file. Okay, so now it is ready, so I don't have to do anything much. So remember, you have to just give your email ID that you will be using for login to Power BI. If you use different email ID, you will not be able to connect it. That's it. So let's go to add new entity. And again, I will perform the same operation. Sorry, database, SQL Server. Okay, let's go again. Sorry to make it redundant for you, but I just wanted to show you how to actually download and use Gateway. So database. So if you have already used it, it will pop up. Otherwise, it will be none. Sometimes it won't show. Then you have to refresh it. Provide the username and password. Okay, next. Now it will try to set up a connection with my data source. My data source is AdventureWorks on my local machine. And then let's pick up some maybe sales related data and we will try to bring it here. So I will select this. Okay, maybe these 4 or 5 tables I just want to bring. Then it will go to transform data. We'll click on this. And this is what I was talking about, that now all these things will look similar to you, whatever you saw in Power BI service or Power BI desktop version. So you have all these features available again for transformations, right? And here, let me show you this sales order details. So this is a kind of sales order, right, which should be standard as per any organization standard or anything. So let's see the data first. It may take a couple of minutes because it is trying to fetch the data from my on-premise and it depends on my network connectivity, right? So this is the data. Now suppose I want to make sure that everything as per uh, the standard, right? So in that case, you will go and click on this map to standard. When you click on this, you see this. It is saying map the columns from your query output to attributes of a standard common data model entity. Got it? So this is related to sales order or just go by order. So there is this order, right? So right now, because I'm not picking up this data from any D365 or any CRM, so that's why you will find these things are not in sync. But if you try to, if you have access to any O3, means D365 data, or you have access to maybe any CRM operations, then you will find that most of these things will be aligned with your CRM, means CDM, common data model. So this is actually common data model which is residing in data lake Gen 2, and this is trying to fetch this information from data lake Gen 2. And now you will be mapping these columns, like this is your actually source column that you have right now. You will try to map these columns with these entity attributes of common data model. Okay, so this is how you leverage uh, this common data model in data flows. Now, if you select anything here, order, then what will happen? It will create data flow based on order. Okay. If you don't do anything, if you don't go for map to standard, then it will be custom. Okay. Basically custom data flow. So I am not doing anything there, but maybe we can just try to perform some operation on top of this. Okay. Maybe suppose any any transformation. Okay, date, maybe modified date. Okay, let's go to transform. It is date type. I will try to make it maybe date time. Okay, so now the data type is changed and you see applied steps here also changed. It is exactly same as Power BI desktop version that you saw. That's why I wanted to cover that before coming to data flow. Now, what happened in this case? This operation did not happen on Power BI. Still, all these operations are happening, all these computes are happening in Data Lake Gen 2. Still, it has not come to Power BI. Okay. Now what I will do, so you can see you can perform any of these operations that you see here. Okay. You can go for adding a column, and then you can go to advanced data that I showed you in Power BI. So any operation, use first row as header. All these are transformations that you can perform directly on your data source. That's why when you're dealing with maybe terabytes of data, that time, if you are performing these operations on suppose Power BI services directly, definitely like you cannot perform directly on Power BI because there's a limitation. But even if you are using suppose analysis services and you want to do transformations, you can't do. But if you are using data flow, then definitely you have the flexibility to do perform any transformation, right, on top of even terabytes of data. So this is the biggest advantage of data flow. Now what I'll do, I'll go and save and close. It will take a couple of minutes. Let it close and let's jump to the slide. So now you know this, right? And I will talk about this also, link entities from other data flows in a couple of minutes. Next one is use data flow with on-premise services. So this is what I showed you, that how you can leverage it. You have to install the gateway, and then using the gateway, you'll be able to connect to the on-premise. But there are certain limitations that you need to be careful with. Each data flow may use only one gateway. As such, all queries should be configured using the same gateway. Okay, so this is a very important limitation, that you cannot have multiple gateways. Each data flow may use only one gateway, but this is not the limitation in Power BI. This also you have to remember, that this limitation is only with data flow. But each data flow can have one gateway. Changing the gateway impact the entire data flow. So basically, as I showed you my gateway right now, let me show you. So I showed you this one, right? So if I suppose uninstall this gateway from here, then what will happen? My data flow will break. It will not work. If several gateways are needed, the best practice is to build several data flows, one for each gateway, and use the compute or entity reference capabilities to unify the data. Got it? So you have to create multiple data flows, and then after that you can perform operations or compute on top of that data. Data flows are only supported using enterprise gateways. Personal gateways will not be available for selection in the drop-down list and settings screens. So this is what that's why I said when we went to this link, right? Not this. I think I closed that one. Oh no, it is there. This one. So download standard mode and personal mode. So the limitation is saying that you will not be able to use personal mode with data flow. Okay. So these are the limitations that you have to be careful with. Next one is incremental refresh with data flows. Now this is a feature that definitely I wanted to highlight. Now let's go to data flow once again. Okay, it is asking to give it a name, give a name to this data flow. So we will give it a name, Adventure Works Demo, and save it. Now, once I saved it, it is giving me two options. One is refresh now and set a refresh schedule. Now, until I have refreshed it, okay, the data has not come to Power BI. It is still residing in your data lake Gen 2. So give me 1 minute. So take an example. Edit entity. I clicked on edit entity. So all those things are entity. Okay, just cancel it for now. Okay, so let's do this thing. First, we will try to refresh it. So we can refresh it directly, or we can schedule it, right? Just give it a moment. I think, yeah. So let's go to refresh now, or okay. First, let me try to schedule refresh and show you how it works here in Dataflow. Okay. So here you see schedule refresh. We have gateway connection, so it will show the gateway connection. Schedule refresh, you will enable. You can select daily or weekly. So let's go by daily. You can select the time zone, what time zone you want to do. Let's go by UTC, and then you have to add time, what time you want to refresh it. Maybe 8 a.m. every day. Send refresh failure notification to the Dataflow owner. Apply. It will ask you to give the email ID. Okay, if you are doing it for the first time, I think I have already configured, so it will send me the email ID. But first time when you do, it will ask you to enter even the email ID. So you have scheduled the refresh now. Okay, let's go to refresh history. So it has never been refreshed, so history is blank. Okay, so let's go to data flows. Yeah, sorry, I have like 2-3 things. That's why it's like that. Okay, now before I refresh it, I wanted to show you. So right now I have not refreshed the data flow. So it means the data is still not come to Power BI. That's what I was telling you, right? So it will say that export.json. So let's try to export this .json file, that what it is saying. Okay, 1 second. Okay, it's not in proper format, but that should be fine. So you see internally it's storing the data in JSON format in data lake gen 2, but I wanted to show you even the source. Okay, let's close this and try to refresh it once. So if I click on this, it will refresh everything right away. This may again take a couple of minutes because there are 4 or 5 tables. And let it refresh. And meanwhile, let me show you this. You see this last icon, which is called incremental refresh. So when you click on this, you can see, you will see that it is disabled. So you can select to enable it. Choose a date time field to filter by. Okay, so modified date. So you need to understand that when you are going for incremental refresh, then even the engine should understand that based on what it will pick up the last modified, like from where it will take that which is the latest record, right? So there should be some date time field which will actually tell the engine or tell the service about the last refresh and which is the latest one. So you need to define one date time field and then store rows from the past. Choose a time period basically from where you want to store the data. You want to store it from maybe last 10 years, or maybe you just want to store the data just for last 1 month, right? So I'll do maybe just or I will just do 1 year. And refresh rows from the past, maybe I will say 7 days. It will, so I will say just refresh the data for last 7 days. Don't refresh the entire data set. Okay. Only refresh complete days. So this also you can choose, or detect data changes. Again, detect data changes on modified date based on that. So you have all these fields. Once you enter these fields, it will know that based on what it has to pick up the refresh, and it will pick up only those refreshed items. So this is a very big feature, because without this, if you have ever worked with Power BI, you know it is such a pain that you will not be able to work. You will not be able to refresh a huge data set. Every time you try to refresh, either your Power BI will hang if you're dealing with huge volume, or it will take maybe hours to refresh the data. But with this feature, that incremental feature, it's like awesome. Like you're just refreshing the last few records, so you are not going to refresh the entire 10 years of your record. Maybe you will refresh for last 1 year record, or maybe 1 month record, or 7 days record. So this is a very strong feature that way. So I will go ahead with that. Okay, changes saved. You can select to refresh it now. Okay, it is saying that can't refresh data flow because this is a feature from premium thing that I already mentioned, right? This is a part of premium, but this is how you do it. That's why. So let's go back to my previous thing, data flows, and see what is happening here. I'm going to schedule, check the refresh history, and you see this refresh history is completed in 2 minutes 35 seconds. So every time it will refresh, you will see the refresh history here. Okay, so let's go back. And let's go back to the slide. We have just a couple of more slides left out. Now and just one moment. Yeah, so after refreshing, if I show you this JSON file, you see it is showing the location. And this location is actually a data lake Gen2 that I have not defined. It has picked up automatically. Okay, and this is the location that you see for data lake Gen2, this one or this one. So it is showing the location of these files, because there were like 4 or 5 different sources. So that's why it is showing different like separate locations for those. Okay, so this gives you one confidence that okay, your data is residing in uh, data lake Gen2. Now we can try to create a report using this. Select a data set. Second. Okay, so when you go to select the data, you will have data flows. You will click on this and then same operation. So basically you will be able to add your data sets here, and you will be able to perform the similar operation that you performed on Power BI services. Let's not go back again to this part. Before that, I just wanted to show you another dashboard. Okay, let's try to complete the slide first. I'll come back to this once again. Now connect to data flows in Power BI desktop. So now we have uh, data flows defined there, right? And we want to leverage that data flow in Power BI desktop. So that, so you can read through all these things. I will share it. There are some important information about this, so that's why I have put this much of text on this. But I'll share this PDF also with you, so you'll be able to go through this. Okay, but before that, let's go to Power BI and get data. In get data, you see there is Power BI data flows. So I'll click on this. So it is taken to a different 1. Oh, so it is taking me to a different account where I have like a lot of data flows. So it is taking them, but I'm wondering that why it is taking me there. At, give me one moment. Let me try to close it and start it once again. So until it starts, so this is one thing. So basically now you have data flow created and you can add that data flow in Power BI. So you can bring that data in your Power BI desktop and then you can build your dashboard or report using that data and then you can publish it to Power BI. That's it. It's as simple as that. Uh, got it. This is correct. Okay, again it is taking me to that. So these are the problems, guys, sometimes we face. I have two accounts actually here. So it is taking me to my another account, which is like Microsoft account. So you will see many things here. So we can just go and check this, how it works. So this is also one of the data flow. So just for example, I am taking this. It's trying to bring that data from data flow. Okay. So here is this query, which is added now. So this actually came from one of the data flow. Okay, so again, we can try to create a table using this data. This is not a neat data, I know, but this is just for demo that how you can bring that thing here. So we have it here now and we can publish it. So if I publish it now, then you will be able to view the dashboard using data flow that you have created now on Power BI services. So let's go replace it. Done. So this is published. Let's go to Power BI again. So you see this was not there. This we added recently. It has come now. Okay, now we will try to show one last thing that I wanted to show. Data flows here. Sorry, let's go here. Data flows. And then I'll try to create a new data flow now, which is linked database, linked entities. This way. Okay. It's fine. You are currently signed in. Go next. So this time I am trying to create a linked entity from the source one, right? So I already had this AdventureWorks demo. So I am going to select one of these, maybe sales customer, and click on transform data. Okay, it is showing this table is empty, maybe because we have not refreshed that data yet. Once it is refreshed, it will be done. But you can perform any operation on top of this, and then you can again save it as a different table, or you can go for merge queries. So if you know Power BI, you can merge this with another table or another query, and you can save it in a new table. And again, you can leverage that as a part of data flow. And all these operations will happen on data lake Gen 2. There is one more thing which is related to AI insights. So if you click on this, right now I don't have anything, so I can't demo you this one. But this is a feature which you can use to leverage ML, like Azure ML on top of this data. So that's how this data flow will be helpful. So you have this data and you can perform your ML operations on top of this, right? So you know all the transformations now, you know how to map it to CDM now, and then how you can leverage AI insights. So maybe I'll try to give this demo later, but this is the one you can save and close, and this is your linked entity. So let it try to. Okay, this one demo 2, save it, refresh now. Okay, it requires premium, so that's fine. But this is how you do. So, and you see this will show you this linked feature. So basically this is linked to any other data flow. Okay, so this is how you create linked data flow. Now let's go to data flows. You can see here you have AdventureWorks, you have AdventureWorks 2, which is not refreshed yet, and that's it. And yeah, there was one more thing that I wanted to show. Data flow settings. So in this data flow setting, you can connect to your Azure Data Lake Gen 2. So that way you will be able to combine the data which is on data flow and data which is residing on your data lake gen 2. And this is again a feature from premium. It is in preview state right now. So if you encounter any error or anything, don't be worried because they're still working on this. So once it is completed, once it is not in preview mode, everything will be ready. So it will not ask you any much detail. It will ask you subscription ID, resource group name, storage account name. That's it. So this is what I wanted to show. And this is actually my last slide. And this is what I just wanted to cover on this, that to use Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 for data flows, you need the following. One thing, Power BI tenant. Okay, then a global administrator account. So remember, you need to be a global admin of the account, and Azure subscription, resource group, and Azure storage account with Data Lake Gen 2 feature enabled. Now, before jumping anywhere, I want to show you how you can create Azure Data Lake Gen 2. And that will be the end of this session. Okay, so let's go to my resource groups. And here I'll show you, you just click on plus storage account. It will show you storage account blob. Okay, you go to create. You provide a name here. Let everything be as it is, whatever the way you want it. You can change this one replication mode. But main thing is you go to advanced and you have to enable this data lake storage gen 2 enable. That's how you create a data lake gen 2 account. You just need to provide a name, but make sure you change this. If you don't change this, this is a normal storage account. It is not data lake gen 2. Okay, so that way you create your data lake gen 2 account. And Arzu is asking one question. AI is premium only feature, right? No, AI is not premium only feature, but you need to have global admin access, I think. Just give me one moment. Let me go there and show you. Where? So this thing you see here, Arju, uh, you will be able to see, you will be able to do all these things here itself. You have create and train your model, improve it, apply it. So this is not a machine learning models. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, Arju. This was my mistake. This is actually a premium feature. Sorry about that. I thought this is a pro feature, but no, this is a premium feature. Okay, so this is it. So I don't have anything else today, but uh, I will I will add one more session on Power BI where I'll try to cover another thing, a little more about Power BI and this data flow, because today actually I have rushed. I tried to cover a lot many things in 2 hours. So I will add one more session. So try to join even that session if you want to learn more about Power BI. I'll be talking a little bit about admin controls in Power BI, that how it works, and how you can see your Power BI load, resourcing load, all those things. So I will try to cover most of the things in my next 2-hour session. Okay, Naren is asking, does incremental data flow make sure that there are no duplicates? Yes, Naren, it makes sure there are no duplicates, because you are actually selecting a column based on which it will try to figure out whether this is a new record or the existing one. So it will ask you for a date time field, and based on that, it will try to find out whether this is a new or the existing one. So it will not create any duplicate. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining this session today. I know we have gone almost 15 minutes ahead. But anyways, I will announce next session of Power BI by tomorrow, and then you can RSVP to that, and we'll meet again then. Any other question before we leave? Okay. So thank you everyone. Have a great day and have a wonderful weekend. See you in the next session.